Welcome to the world of stand-up.
Woo!
You're back.
I'm back.
Okay, so just because we were talking about this, I want to finish my description of Sausage Party, the movie.
I still haven't seen it.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's so good. Seth Rogen wrote it. It's an adult animation, has all the swears, but the metaphor is hilarious to me because all of these vegetables and breads and everything inside the store, they have this like religious sort of zealotry over the people picking them to be taken home, and that's what they call going to the great beyond. It's like God,
grocery store.
I'm chosen by God to go to the grocery store, and then this like can of Dijon mustard gets returned back. And he's like, "You fucking crazy assholes! It's not what you think. It's a big lie."
Gosh. Oh, that narrative's incredible. What a commentary.
It's so good, dude.
That sounds unsettling. Yeah, Sausage Party, it's going to be pretty rancid. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, dude, it's so like so Seth Rogen is like a hot dog, and then Kristen Wiig plays like a bun. And they're hoping to get picked together so that hot dog can slide into that bun. Just the tips.
Commentary. Oh my gosh,
dude, it's so good.
The meta to that's kind of hysterical if you think about it. Because it is. Everybody's trying to. I think right now there's this massive awakening. You talk with anyone for 5 minutes, especially if they have like a religious background. Like we've talked about it. We have religious backgrounds, and everybody's kind of. The way I was raised was kind of in a very insulated, like zealotous environment.
Dude, when I was a kid, parents wouldn't let their kids watch The Simpsons, man. Like
my mom wouldn't let me watch Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Yeah. You got Simpsons, Power Rangers, and it was like that was off the table.
She's like, I don't want my kid to turn out gay. If he does, he's gonna watch
like
Power
the Pink
Rangers.
Ranger's too hot. He might have a.
Which, by the way, who's ever gay? We got no problem with it. That was a thing back. It was back then. Anyway,
It's a different time. It's funny how that doesn't age very well. Certain jokes, even like Adam Sandler movies. Now you're like, whoa, how do people get away with?
Dude, I still laugh harder than ever though, because I'm like, thank the Lord that's still available to laugh at.
Do you find Adam Sandler funny, bro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you watch his comedy special, the last one, which, dude, what's it called? It's like called Fresh something. Adam Sandler's most recent comedy special that he did. Not his most recent movie, but his comedy special. It's hilarious. It's these clips of all of these like venues that he did musical comedy and wrote songs and jokes and performing, and it's really, really well done.
Huh. Did you see Murder Mystery? Because I was completely
horrible
movie. I liked his acting though. To be fair, it's like in the 90s, it was like haha slapstick funny like him and Jim Carrey, where they're these like excessively expressive, like they do that thing, and that was like funny in the 90s. It didn't age well, so now everybody like I watch.
When you say it didn't
now.
age well, what do you mean? Like,
I mean, you watch it now, it's cringy. At least for me, I'm also 30.
Which movie? Like Mystery Date?
I would Murder Mystery,
whatever. Yeah,
we watched that the other night. Yeah, I just thought his acting was better. I was excited to see that he'd evolved. He's not still trying to be Adam Sandler in the 90s.
Yeah, I just got to call you out on this shit, dude. Like you're actually talking about Adam Sandler's acting getting better, dude.
What do you mean? His delivery, his timing.
He's a freaking shithead comedian. He's just trying to do fart and dick jokes and give his buddy a job every time they do a movie. Have you ever noticed that? Like all of his friends are in the same movies.
Really?
And they're in these exotic locations that are awesome, and he always has one hot chick.
It's the perfect idea.
It's the perfect, like
let's go take a 3-month vacation, make a movie out of it. You know?
Hey, Spade, you want to spend 3 months in Hawaii?
I want to spend 3 months
Brooklyn
in Hawaii. Brooklyn
Deckler's going to be the main actress. I think I can do that.
I'll twist my arm. I could be there.
Yeah.
Good grief. Going back to Sausage Party, that meta narrative is funny because there's a lot of people that are starting to have this kind of like, someone told me, he said, I think religion is inherently not trying to be corrupt and has become something like that, and spirituality is king. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
But spirituality is getting to the point where it's getting kind of corrupted.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, rub a crystal and double pierce your nose, and then suddenly
I just more like kind of the capitalistic nature of it that's getting brought in, where it's like you're having these like airy-fairy, spirit coaches that are like, in order to tap into your manifestation crystal, you need to pay my $50,000 or whatever. And it's like,
isn't that how Scientology started? Shout out Scientology.
I don't know. Did it?
Tom Cruise? Oh my gosh. Have you seen Top Gun?
You don't even watch this podcast, man. I've done a thing about Top Gun on this podcast.
Okay, it was very good.
So why did you ask me that if you already knew that I'd seen Top Gun?
Well, I didn't know that for sure.
Yes, you did. I talked about, unless you didn't watch the video. Dude, I'm calling you out, bro.
Look, you're sending me 10-minute videos, my guy. I'm making music.
They're 2-minute videos, bro.
Long form on Instagram. How's that treating you, by the way?
What the I did it once. It treated me like shit. No long form on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram's it's quick.
2 minutes max.
Yeah.
And I wish Instagram would get their shit together and have their reels be longer like TikTok does, but
it's just the attention. Like TikTok will do it because you have a curated audience. They go, hey, this person's obsessed. Okay, one of my favorite TikTok accounts is called Zeth. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like the San Diego skater guy had his little kid.
Oh,
she's
bro,
like
is
2
he the
years
one that,
old.
like gives commentary, bro.
No, dude, he does a whole podcast with his like 2-year-old.
Okay.
She's the the cutest videos I have ever seen in my life. Like they're sitting there eating eggs and she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool. We're eating eggs on a podcast." And she's like, "Yeah, I love this." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to keep doing this all the time. Everyone's going to start doing it." She goes, "Do you think Joe Rogan watch our videos?" And he's like, "If they're eating eggs on the next podcast, they watch our stuff." Oh my, dude, I have to show you it. The cutest thing ever. But if you're like into like that account, they could post a 10-minute video. I would watch that. That was it.
Natural. I got a question for you. So, Christmas just ended. We're in the new year.
Oh yeah, Alicia Keys commented on this.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Can you talk closer? Oh, there it is.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Dude, literally. And so they said that he sat her down and he was just having her do a mic test. And then she just started saying all this kind of like hysterical stuff. And he's like, "What is my 2-year-old doing?" And then the whole podcast is now just him just teeing her up and her just going crazy. Smart kid.
Okay.
I think that comes down to like not baby talking your kids. Because I have so many kids. I don't have any kids. I have a cat.
Yeah, so many.
No. But I imagine when I raise kids.
Confessional moment here.
I imagine when I have a family, I'm going to, as soon as possible, try and not baby talk. Because he just talks to her in full sentence, uses words. She has no idea what he's even referring to. And she's just like a tiny
what's even
genius.
worse than the baby talk is the talk at animals. Like not to bring the room down, but we put our dog down yesterday.
Dude, I
our
saw
pug,
that. I'm so
15 years old, dude.
Oh.
I actually liked that dog, so it was kind of rough, really
I
rough.
hear that.
My point is, every person in the vet,
You don't talk like that with your pets? That's exactly how I talk to my cat.
No, Amy does, but I'm like, when they're female, of course, I'm like, bitch, get the fuck. I talk to them like they're human.
Yeah, respect. Yeah,
This-
full
and
senses.
Our pug was the one I liked. She was sweet. And
His pictures were cute.
yeah, she's awesome. But the whole point of me bringing that up was to talk about my dead dog. It was to talk about, like, dude,
Yeah, I mean,
I bet that some of those women in the veterinarian clinic accidentally talk like that to themselves. Stephanie, can you?
she's looking in the mirror in the morning. You look great. Your foundation turned out perfect today.
You're so cute.
You're going to go out there. Your eyeliner looks great. You're going to slay, sweetie. Hey, maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
slay. You gonna slay.
Can we talk about how lucky we are as men to just roll out of bed and maybe you do something with your hair and you're set? Because everyone has a general broad expectation and of you just hitting some average mark. We don't have to like do our eyelashes or any of this other stuff. Here's our face. Take it or leave it. And there's just like, cool. Doesn't
Yeah,
that work
until you
out?
get older, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're wearing makeup?
No,
It's okay if you are. The lights are hot.
No, legit. Full disclosure. Yesterday, I got like this hydro facial.
No
from
way. How was
one
it?
of those Botox clinics.
Did you like it?
It's freaking dope.
Feel good?
Yeah, I felt like a movie star when I walked out of there.
Looked like a movie star. We were talking about the beard game before that. I was like, that's a good look. Yeah.
It's growing in. I need to address that because, like I was telling you before. Hold on, before we do this. This is Brady Edwards. If you're listening to this, he might sound familiar because he was on just a couple episodes, but I wanted to bring him back on into the full regala of the 3-camera angle video.
This is bananas how much this has changed since I was here, like a month and a half ago.
Well, and plus, you passed a benchmark where you can actually talk about what's going on with Mr. Beast and all that thing that you had before.
Finally can.
Instead of like putting your money at jeopardy. So we'll talk about that. But back to my beard. I legit thought kind of in an ironic way I was going to do a Top Gun mustache.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like, I'm going to shit. Because, they basically just like, they cut off the top. It's like I wanted to do that, but I'm not stupid. I'm like, okay, in order to do that, I need to leave like some, I need a way out.
Back up.
So so when I shaved around, I didn't shave with a razor. I shaved with the clippers, and it just didn't have any attachment. So it was
you
to
went
the
no
skin,
guard?
no guard.
Wild, man.
And then I'm doing that, and I'm looking at this thing on my lip, deciding if I needed to, shave it with the razor.
Did you look like Rooster?
No, not even close, dude. I looked like a dude with shit on his lip. Like gray and silver don't look good in mustaches.
Oh, I don't know who's made that rule up, man. I disagree. It's a look.
You can't see it. That's the problem. You can't see the mustache.
Thought about dyeing it? And it's on the podcast, so if you do it, everyone's going to know. But also, who cares?
Well, no, I didn't think of dyeing it because I don't do that anymore. I used to dye my beard.
Really?
And then as it started to get more and more gray and more white, Like it was having to be like a weekly thing, and I'm like, this just looks bad.
It's a lot of upkeep.
I look like, one of those guys that's like a crooner on a late night singing show. Hey there, like that dude's.
That's actually good. I bet you are a good singer.
Shit, and like
you be a baritone.
You can see the dye coming off of his skin, like he's
just sweating off all of his fake bake.
Dude, speaking of self-deprecating stories, before I started shaving my head, I used to So I actually had hair restoration surgery. So there's a scar in the back of my head, and they gave me a new hairline.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But what they don't tell you is that everything else still recedes. So like if I was to grow my hair, I have a great hairline. I just looks like a crown. Like I'm wearing a tiara.
Curious.
But so like before that got really bad, there was this like stuff that you could sprinkle on your hair called kabuki.
What?
And it was supposed to like attach itself to your hair to make your not bukkake.
I totally misunderstood.
Yeah,
it's so
I
embarrassing.
don't put bukkake in my scalp. For the record, I want to make sure that's clear. I'm looking at every no bukkake in my scalp. All right, kabuki. It was this powder that would like attach to your hair and make your hair thicker so that you couldn't see through it.
Oh.
So it like got rid of like the appearance of thinning
out. Life hack.
But it didn't really work. Huh. It just looked like I had like fucking salt and pepper in my head.
Some people just do not have the head for the full bald look, and you definitely do. So leaning into it.
God was like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck you on this one, but I'll make it up with the dome. Because I do have a decent head for.
I've seen bald dudes that do not have the head.
They have like orbs,
dude.
Shapes, and things.
It's not the move.
It's like the guy from Goonies, man. Like,
I got lucky. They say the genetics that you get for your hair, it comes from your mom's dad, right?
Yep.
So my beautiful, wonderful grandpa and grandma, rest their soul, he passed away with a full head of snowy white hair, just luscious. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for that.
My mom in her craziness, she tried to pass that off to me, saying that my grandpa Grossbeck, who was my mother's father, had a full head of hair, and it was bullshit. He wore toupees all the time. And I'm like, whoa. Mom, you knew he wore a toupee. How dare you act like I was going to have a full head of hair?
She's like, it's manifesting. I was trying to tell you the right story.
Yeah.
There's something to that. I used to not be able to grow a beard at all. And then at one point, before I took anything from Upgrade,
you got really your pubes and it grew in.
I just squeezed. I looked in the mirror, just doink, doink, one by one. No, but I really, like, my little brother comes up hot out of nowhere, growing this gorgeous beard. I was like, this is messed up. We have the same genetic background. Like, what? So then I started going, I think my beard's coming in a little bit more today. Every day. I think it's coming in a little bit more today. And I don't know if it was true, but eventually it was.
I bet you believe it's true.
Oh, it 100% is true now.
Does it work for other parts of your body?
That's an ongoing experiment. Talking about my eyebrows, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about other parts of our body that we might wish were longer.
Size 11 and a half, man. I'm good.
Okay, good for you. Well, like they say, you have big hands too. You know what they say when you have big hands and big feet, right?
Big gloves and big socks.
Oh, you're a clown.
Damn. Yeah, I walked right into that.
You can't.
This really is the comedy special.
Yeah.
It's a stand up. I mean, I like the blue.
Well, dude, the whole thing was to be entertaining and fun and everything, but have interesting conversations. Like I don't want to have the audacity to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like I kind of wanted to pattern it after Rogan. I wanted to be able to have like my comedy friends on and talk shit and laugh and other smart people that were in it. If you're entertaining and I can have a good conversation with you, I will allow you on this show.
I like that he
if
calls
you're boring as fuck. See ya.
Yeah, no, actually, he gets to pick whoever he wants, right? That being his show.
100%.
There's like lately, you can tell sometimes there's like comedian after comedian after comedian, and then someone from the UFC, and then like those really draining, heavy hitting questions where they'll get like a scientist talking about like the global warming dilemma. And it's like there's two dimensions to that. So it's interesting. There's a huge balance when you're like, okay, there's like 5 comedians in a row.
Yeah.
So I can imagine he's just like, I'm not trying to have hard conversations this week.
I'm tired of this. I just want to get high.
Yeah. Did you see his and Post Malone's interview? They were obliterated.
Yeah. Well,
it was like
fill the blanket on most any interview that he does in his California studio. Still, he's always stoned.
Weren't they on mushrooms with Post Malone?
Oh yeah, they were gone.
Well, he's been on mushrooms with Duncan Trussell a bunch too.
I love Duncan Trussell.
Yeah.
He's so funny. Have you seen, what is it, the Midnight Gospel? You've seen that, right?
No. What is it?
So that's,
my gosh.
Right? Is Duncan Trussell's animated show. He goes into the studio and basically riffs for an hour, and then they animate the most bananas things around just his open, free-flowing dialogue, and then create a whole story out of it. And it's everything from like, what is the meaning of life? And what does death mean? And what is our purpose here? And why is it some people are sad? And what is the unconscious mind? And then just like the wildest stuff in between. And it's Duncan Trussell. Like dude, it's on Netflix.
I was going to go and do that. It was on
It's
Joe
literally
Rogan's podcast, and I did it as a Midnight America.
Yeah, they're always in robes. We should do a robe episode here.
I'd be down.
Maybe we wear like a Power Ranger suit just because my mom hates it. I'm kidding.
You're saying that, dude. Your mom has an issue with Power Rangers. Mom, what's up with the Power Rangers, man? It's
just
martial
came-
arts and it's privacy based. You have no idea who's under. I mean, these are principles that nowadays we don't honor. We don't honor athleticism. We don't honor the ability and skill to fight. We don't honor keeping your identity to itself. Everybody's wanting to show their ass on Instagram. Like,
Look, I got a lot of likes on that picture, to be fair. So
which picture are you talking about?
clearly the one you didn't like.
Clearly.
I'm a comedian too. You didn't know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Thanks for this giant thermos, by the way.
I'm not giving you the thermos. You get the water in it. But.
Yeah. Oh, I don't get to keep that. Dang, dude. No stand-up logo on it where everybody gets one on the way out.
Dude, hey, what are you doing, man? You're talking all the shit on this before.
We're just warming up, man.
Yeah, no, this is fun. So, anyway, you're back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Happy to be here. This whole thing has changed. I'm stoked.
Yeah. I'm doing that with you and Rodney Norman's coming back on.
Nice.
And there's a couple others I'm trying to get on, but I don't know if they will. But
Well, it was cool before. You had the mixer here, and we had the microphones, and it was cool. We had the headphones, and we were just talking. Having actual video is a huge way to maintain retention, right?
Yeah.
But then you're putting it across a whole bunch of other stuff. Then people see you. It's like you can listen to somebody all day, but like I'm on the treadmill and I'll watch, the All In Summit or Joe Rogan or Lex Friedman. I like being able to watch it. I want to see them. I want to see what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So this is awesome. I mean, you got 3 different angles, the lights. This is so cool.
yeah, we have the naked Indian behind there to keep you distracted. It's fun.
I don't know if I can't comment on that, bro, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about it. Well, I don't think we even need to reference your last interview because I'm pulling it down. Like, if anybody hasn't heard it yet, it's gone by now.
Tragic.
So, you were the creative director,
I was the video director.
video director for Mr. Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody on YouTube that has more subscribers than Mr. Beast?
Totally. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The metric, okay, so here's how YouTube works. YouTube wants to know that if you can get somebody onto your video, how long can you keep them? Hey, great. They know that you're going to give them something good. That thumbnail was way good in the side banner. So you click on it. Okay, great. How long are they going to watch? Awesome. Look at that. They're 2 minutes in. Complete retention. Wow. Okay, we're going to throw an ad in there. Did they watch the ad all the way through? What was the probability of them, like, if it's a game, did they click and download it? Wow, this channel has incredible click-through. People like it. They're okay with not skipping after 5 seconds, or even if they are, like, there's still enough retention. So subscribers is not the only metric in terms of like YouTube success. It's one, but then you've got something like T-Series, which is basically a YouTube channel put on by the country of India. And they've got an upwards of 1-2 billion people. So they're cranking out content like 20 videos a day. So you just can't really compete with that. So the subscriber count, where the real money and magic is in watch time, average view duration, and engagement with the video. Do they subscribe? What's the percentage of that? So in terms of really all of these much more important, valuable metrics, it's the biggest YouTube channel in the world by far.
Wow.
97 million subs. They just hit it, I think, yesterday.
97 million.
Crazy.
That is bananas, dude.
I got on at 25. It was an amazing experience.
25 years old or 25 million subscribers?
25 million subscribers.
How much did it grow while you were there?
So when I got there, it was 25. When I left, it was 72. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it was a hell of a journey. It's like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, it was so cool because we were entertaining the world. Like, there is really not a higher summit in terms of YouTube that you could climb to or ascend. So to be able to get to the top of that and see how that's run and look down over the vast valley of all things YouTube and creative, and you're just like, this is nuts. The perspective
So have
is
you
insane.
visited the YouTube headquarters
No,
as Mr. Beast?
probably. Yeah.
That's cool.
He's out in North Carolina. The whole operation is.
Yeah.
So it's on the other side of the country. I'm sure there's occasional incentive, but like for the most part, those guys are so busy. Everything is stacked. Like they just dropped this video where they literally gave away an entire chocolate factory. I don't know if you saw that one yet.
I didn't see that one.
They built an actual chocolate river, just like in Willy Wonka. They had candy. Everything was edible. And then they had like these series of games where people would like eliminate themselves throughout the game and have to get on the boat and go through the chocolate river, the river of shame. Meanwhile, everything in the room is edible. They have marshmallow stools. The engineering behind that.
I don't know if I'd like to eat stool.
That's not what I said.
You said stools, so that's multiple. That's plural.
I think the use of the word stool in the poop context would still just be stool. I said stools, plural.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
no, you didn't, because there's no proof of that.
Play it back.
Yo. So stool plural is still stool. You can't have multiple stools.
So you would have to append it.
Okay, so we're not going to get to the bottom of this one.
Didn't.
Zinger. So anyway, but it's so curious to me to talk to you about the Mr. B stuff because in a way, and I know it's not the same, but it's like you're like the Jamie to Joe Rogan in a way. It's like you're a guy that was right next to one of the most famous dudes ever.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 6'5", so it was very interesting. I thought I was tall, and but no one knows that. That's the funny thing. Anyone that sees him, they're like, I had no idea you were that tall. The reason is because we film down.
Okay.
You know, because if you're looking at a YouTube video, you're peering in.
Yeah.
And instead, if somebody's towering over you, this is like basic like film psychology. If you're shooting low and somebody's just towering over you, there's kind of that imposing.
Yeah.
You invert that, and so it's like, hey, we invite you to peer in and like be a part of this, which is like you'll see that all the time in film. Yeah, so it shocks people how tall he is. But it was cool, man. Like, you spend 10 minutes with that guy, and your entire perspective on the world changes. Because he's like 24 now. He's 24.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he is so obsessive with YouTube success and diversifying revenues and being the greatest YouTuber on the planet. And it's like you go, man, you question everything. You're like, have I ever been obsessed with like one thing ever to that degree? And then it challenges like your entire outlook because you're like, look what he did. He started at 13, 12, and he was just making like Call of Duty commentary. Like it was like it was very sweaty back in the day, those Xbox 360 days.
There's that word again, sweaty.
Sweaty.
The kids and their sweaty words.
It was funny. Before we started, I had explained it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
you're saying that, man, Fortnite before it got sweaty or whatever, and I'm like,
Fortnite's way too sweaty now. You don't want to hop into it. You know, Rocket League's too sweaty. There's some casual games, you know.
okay, so just because there's other old people that watch and listen to this. So what is sweaty again?
I would say it's the competitive scene around a game.
Okay.
So it's like nobody's going to get super wrapped up in Monopoly. But imagine if you're the Monopoly player and you're so diehard about Monopoly that as you're playing, you're so like, you're sweating. And so you can do that with like video games. And that seems stupid.
So it's just a level of, so like if a game is sweaty, it's just that people are intense about it.
Yeah. And also you're going to hop in and it's almost not even going to be fun.
Dude, I'm going to beat the shit out of this word now. I'm going to use it for everything.
It's applicable. It has a lot of application.
Sweaty about using the sweaty word.
You should. It's a good word.
See what I did there?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
you're going to be sweaty about the use of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. That should be on the next.
English.
No, your comedy.
Class, we're going to talk about words.
We're going to get sweaty today. Oh, I hate that teacher. He's so freaking sweaty. He's a sweat.
Well, I'd want to make sure if that was the case, I was a college professor at least because I don't want to deal with that with.
Okay, yeah, be a college professor in that context. Probably.
Yeah, because I don't want to be like, it doesn't matter.
Do you want the Urban Dictionary definition of sweaty?
Yes, please.
All right. Sweaty is also used to describe a person who's way into something with intensity. Whatever the person is doing, they are balls deep into the game when they are sweaty as fuck.
First of all, dude, the idea that I'm just learning about this word is so awesome to me. I feel like I've been living in this counterculture and I didn't even know about it.
That's fair.
Because you guys, dude, producer Cash over here, and you guys were just like, you were in the, I was
talking Warzone.
It might as well have been like Snoop Talk, like for shizzle my kneesy, like you're just.
Sweaty's a derogatory term in the gaming world. You get hosed by somebody, that's sweaty
motherfucker. Hosed. There's another one. You got hosed. I know what that word means, but that's not a normal everyday word that you use.
It is meant to be derogatory because you play a game and you get smoked and you're like, that guy's just sweat. Like he's way more into this than I am anyways. It makes you feel better because you just got annihilated and he's 13.
It's an ego protector.
It's an ego protector for sure.
I feel like this scene of the show could be one where it's like, show me you're fucking old without showing me you're fucking old.
And now our new segment.
Yeah.
Words that freak Bryce out.
Words. Our new segment. In my day, we did sweaty meant what was the residue of your exercise.
It was highly competitive, right? Can you call it that?
Did you ever not get mad while you're playing Pong with somebody and they took it too serious?
Pong. Oh my God. Go fuck yourself, dude.
Gosh.
I'll have to change you to the same name as Dalia's producer and call you Juan Fire. Or Ivan Getridov.
Cash is spitting bars.
I am Mexican, so you can call me whatever.
Orale.
All right. Love that. He's Mexican. So we're going to call you Peso instead of Cash. Instead of Dinero. All right. So anyway, so you're so he's 6'5". That's interesting.
Yeah, super cool guy.
And he's 14 now. That's awesome.
He's 24.
Okay.
He started when he was young. So he just got obsessive. So to work with somebody where we had budgets, but budgets were like a soft suggestion. Because like every single video, it's like, you know what? Whatever it takes to make this the wildest, craziest video you've ever seen in your life, fine. Let's throw another few $100,000. Don't even bat an eye. And that is because no one has ever approached YouTube like this. Like you talk about a Hollywood video.
Yeah.
a movie, there's a ton of capital. There's a whole process to this. No one's done this at scale on YouTube because people are like, okay, so here's what it was. I talked about this on the God Mode podcast. YouTube had this trend for a while. It was like, holy crap, I make videos and the money fountain go burr. Like this, all this money's coming out. This is great. I'm going to go buy a $15 million house in California and I'm going to buy this Lambo and this and that. And my audience is going to live vicariously through me. They're going to get FOMO, but they're going to subscribe. They're going to love it. I'm going to travel, da, 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 da. So that was kind of like the content bed of the top creators in YouTube for like the longest time, like the Logans, the Jake Pauls, David Dobrik's, like creators that loved flaunting how much freaking money they were making. And then Jimmy took a different angle where he's like, people are this is played out. What if I gave this to other people? And the idea that you can take an absurd amount of capital and enrich somebody else's life, and people freaking love watching that. And that turned in from one thing. It was like a brand deal. He gave a homeless guy $10,000. That was like one of his first videos that went viral. And, there's insights, and he talks about this a lot. There's insights that he's gathered all along the way. Case in point, the brand deal that he got for this homeless video. They wanted to give him $5,000. And he's like, give me 10. And I'm like, why? What is the difference? What are you going to spend it on? He's like, no, really. Give me 10. It looks better in the title. If you put 10 grand, $5,000, there's not another decimal. Something about that looks good. And he was on to that in like 2017. So giving 10 grand to a homeless person, the brand deal went for it. They got all the return and then some. The video blew up. And since then, those bizarre viewer insights have riddled and literally defined the entire machine that is Mr. Beast now. And there's so much more nuance to it now. That was like one thing. And now it's like, there's so much to it. They just don't miss. And if they feel like a video is approaching 90% perfection, it's not worth it. They'd rather scrap it because it has to be
So
perfect.
What would make it only 90% perfection as an example? What was something you guys scrapped that wasn't good enough?
We scrapped it. We scrapped a lot of videos. We did one where we were going to use every VR gaming system basically in the world. So we spent months sourcing it, reaching out to every company from like prototypes, whatever, got them all, send them in. And we're working on it for 2-3 months in this new studio, trying to get it, very interesting and appealing. And then the background wasn't right, or here's another one. One of the things that we figured out very early on is that people they have a cult following, they get obsessive. And so let's say you do a live stream, right? And the people are waiting, they only see your videos like every 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, that guy's on a live stream for 12 hours. He's doing a limited edition shirt. And if I buy it right now for $69.42, $4.20, then he'll sign it. Well, we did that in August of 2020, August of 2020. And they sold 72,000 shirts.
Wow.
With the promise that he was going to hand sign every single shirt.
Did he?
Yeah. But you do the math on that.
That's a lot of signatures.
It took over a month. And so what happened is we go, okay, here's this absurd volume of shirts. It's like a 6-minute video on YouTube. It was one of the gnarliest things we've ever had to do because we're just in this warehouse day in, day out grinding. We would have to optimize systems. Like what's the most efficient way to get Jimmy's like signature right? Oh, his arms cramping. We had like the therapist of like a local hockey, like NHL hockey team come through and like work on him to keep him like in prime because you do the math and you go, okay, here's my signature. That's one shirt, 2, 3. And if you have to do 72,000, you have to hope that you can hit 1,000 a day. So what? Then all we're going to do for 2.5 months is sign shirts. Like it was a tremendously.
How long does it take to do 1,000 signatures?
Well, we started clocking it.
Okay.
We started getting an estimate so we could like do the numbers and assess how much like time we needed to finish this. And we were able to do 120 signatures in, I want to say 60 seconds, like at peak. Like, yeah, just boom. And we had a team. So it was one person pull, one person pull, one person pull, and then somebody else is feeding it off. You have to iron them. If it's not ironed, you can't write it very well. So we had teams and tables of people ironing these shirts en masse and then lining them up, stacking them in the right way. Wow. The whole time we're optimizing. It was the weirdest thing ever, but it took like almost a month.
That video never made it?
No, it's online. But the reason I brought it up is because the first time we tried doing it, we set some shelves up behind the desk. It's like, here we go, here it is. Yeah. Well, he comes in and he's got an eye for everything. He knows his audience better than anybody. He goes, this isn't going to work. You have to think about the scale and spectacle, how stupid this is we're talking about. 72,000 shirts, hand signing. Do it again. We got to make it bigger. So we do. We go to all the local hardware stores and we pull as many like plastic shelves as we can to try and like make it look bigger so we can put the shirts on it. So we 10x the set in like a day and a half, which was a absolute feat. Like wow. I was so proud of the team. We stayed up all night doing it. And so now we're like, dang, this thing is like 10 times bigger. There's all these shirts. It's like hundreds of shelves. And we come in, Or he comes in to look at it. It's still not big enough. And let's try and fix this by, let's be filming tomorrow. So we have to now 10x the set. So now we're 100 times the scale of what we originally set up. And so we had to literally leave the state, hit every single Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. We sent teams with box trucks in every which direction just to try and get enough shelves to make this thing look big enough and stupid enough so that you could zoom out and go, there's 72,000 shirts in one shot, and at scale truly understand how stupid and absurd it was. And it ended up being so big we couldn't do it in a day, but we did it pretty dang quick. And then from there it became optimizing the signing. So all that to say, the standard of content is so high, and you think you've built something and you're like, actually, this is insane. I've never seen anything like this before, but Jimmy always knows better.
Yeah.
And so we finally made a cube that was legitimately like 30 feet wide, 30 feet back, 20 feet up, and the entire thing. I mean, it was just absurd. That was a really gnarly video.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So how big is that? Like, how much space does 72,000 shirts take?
It's on my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we can, I'll send it to you afterwards. You can pop it up on the screen. So this.
Oh, my word, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
And every single one of those shelves have to be bought, assembled. They got to look cohesive. It's got to all be the same thing. I mean, it was insanity.
Is that you in there?
Yeah.
It's proof, dude.
Yeah, that one was gnarly.
Wow.
Every single video like that pushed us to the brink. And that was part of what made it such a fun challenge.
Yeah.
It was also why I was okay, like after a couple of years, just like ready to like take a breath, focus on something new. I didn't find anything, at least that I was aware of, that would be remotely as fulfilling though, right? Because we were entertaining the world.
Yeah.
And how do you one up that, really? So to meet William and eventually have our mission statement be, we're upgrading humanity, that has been somehow the thing that has managed to even be more fulfilling. I didn't think I'd find it, and we did.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other part. We talked about it last time, but you are the director of marketing?
The director of media.
Director of
Upgrade.
media for Upgrade.
Yeah.
And Upgrade is a mental programming company.
Sure is. It's worked quite a bit for you.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah.
I've sung its praises a lot. I'm actually excited to head back in August for some more stuff. But
Prac and Master Prac, yep, in August.
dude.
It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be
yeah,
hot.
it was started by a guy named William Lamb. I'm gonna try to get William on the show here
That would be awesome.
because he's just a little Asian Yoda, man. He's such a Jedi.
Genius, dude.
And the idea that the way that your mind works, the pairing of your conscious and subconscious mind to basically create the experiences and the results that you have, and it's there's been jokes that we live in the Matrix. We actually kind of do in a way. I mean, it's not that we're plugged into as batteries for the machines or anything, but
Not that we know of. I can't see far enough out.
but there is a power there. Like I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day about how I really desire to know exactly how it all works, and some of the things that have come out of the training with Upgrade, they're mind-boggling.
If life is actually a video game or a simulation in some degree, that means it's hackable. And that also means that you can do whatever you want. It's sandbox mode, the whole thing. Meaning like it's not just this linear thing that you have to play out. You can pause and look around, construct, create, build, do whatever you want. You're in a sandbox of infinite opportunity. And I think we kind of get in this linear thing because if you do that, you're a contributor to society. Like that's super neat. Also, you can do whatever you want. And I think that's the big hack. And I think a lot of people are waking up to that. It was like COVID hit, everybody's disenfranchised. Oh, we can work from home. And now they're like, you know what? Not only am I not having to go into the office, but I'm not finding even fulfillment from what I'm doing there. But what can I do, right? And I just see it everywhere lately. Like everyone just seems so, I don't know, resigned. They want something else. And it just comes down to them finding some kind of unique contribution to the world. So for you, it's comedy, it's podcasting, it's helping other people get like a really solid tone and direction with the podcast so it's not a giant waste of their time. And right out of the gate, it's correct. For me, it was let me help somebody capture and tell a story because my degree is in advertising, but I didn't know what to do with that. Then a camera came into my life in 2017. My first camera I pick up, 2017. From there, I'm helping everybody tell their stories and holding attention. And so it's like, I'm also not married to exclusively that. It's starting to scale and turn into other things. Like William and I have a media firm together. We've had some awesome stuff happen, crazy clients come together. And so now we're going to scale and manage, our media team. So I'm not always going to be the one holding a camera. Anyways, all that to say, everybody has this opportunity to do something super fulfilling with their lives, but like no one can make that choice for them, you know?
Right. No one can make that choice for them. Ain't that the truth? Well, it's a combination of things. It's so the things that I've learned at Upgrade have been, I'll call them inner world principles. They're things between my ears, ways of thinking, allowing belief, allowing abundance, allowing growth, allowing riches and blessing and all that, and rooting out a lot of the toxic shame that had been there, and the unworthiness, the feelings of that were attached. I am reading this book right now that's called No More Mr. Nice Guy by a guy named Dr. Robert Glover, I think, or Richard Glover. And it's really been an alarming thing to read that after having learned what I've learned through Upgrade and the power of the conscious and the subconscious mind.
Why?
Because part of the things that I've learned in Upgrade have to do with like foundationally changing your identity. Like in order for you to have a new set of rules, a new set of results, you have to see yourself as somebody that can experience that and that's worthy of experiencing that. There's a lot of self-love and self-worthiness talk in Upgrade of how you have to be able to like accept the fact that you're fucking awesome and accept the fact that when you have the nice thing or experience the big money or it's of course you're supposed to. It's all a part of the plan. There's no breaks to the amount of abundance that you can experience. But in order to actually accept those things into your life, you have to address on a core level a bunch of shit that was put there by people that you don't really even know.
Yeah.
Like parents and teachers and things that put you into trances where it minimized your own. I mean, anyway, so in this book, Absolutely. It talks about, that there's this epidemic of nice guys, that guys that are, they crave the approval of women and they become really nice. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to be abrasive. They're just like, sweet guys or whatever, but they're inherently, and this is what kind of hit me because I realized that, my upbringing and how I was raised and different, issues that I've had with my parents and things like I've become in my life up to a certain point, that nice guy where I've felt that I had to show up a certain way, be a perfectionist, be somebody that, was achieving because of course I would, that's who I am. Because the reality of who I am underneath it, I at a core level felt unlovable for a long time. Like there was a lot of shame associated with who I am because of my parents and how I was raised. And, a child is to be seen, not heard. And this whole sort of thing that like, if I was to actually be myself and express myself, it would be rejected.
Polarizing.
So, and this is an epidemic with men all over the place where they do this. And so, I even noticed with some of the Upgrade stuff, I tapped into some of those, cool experiences and got some really, really cool things to show up in my life. And then dealing with that reality has been poking up against some of that core programming that was dog shit. And being like, feeling like I'm hitting a ceiling.
Sure. Like
that I'm at some place. And so it's like, I don't know, the point I bring all that up is because in order to, your identity governs your values govern your beliefs then govern your actions, your behaviors, right? So if you want to change anything significantly about your life and experience a new version of life, you have to fundamentally change your identity. You have, and what I mean by that is it's not that you become a girl or that you like start and call me Bob now. Like it's none of that. It's that you have to see yourselves like, oh, of course I would drive a Ferrari.
Yeah. It's your
I am the guy that does that. Of course I would have a house on the hill that's got all the cool, of course my, experiences would be this.
No, that's for somebody else.
And again, this is where a lot of people on the outside of it don't understand it. It's not a pride thing or an enmity thing. I am in no way saying that I get this because I'm better than you. It's I get this because I'm better than the old me.
Put that on a t-shirt.
And I don't know, man. Like that's what I want for it's one of the reasons why like I love associating with a lot of the Upgrade guys like you and William and John and Chris. Like everybody, they're all in their own journey, understanding that, and they all have their own different level of results towards that sort of new, excellence as a standard. But just being around people that believe and that support your growth and don't get threatened by it, is huge.
With that too, that change, if you look at like the process too, it's not a light switch. You don't hit a moment and then boom, you're at that identity and you don't have to do any more work or whatever. It constitutes, even to get to that point, an uncomfortable amount of work. You have to look in and find every single opportunity to take like 100% responsibility. Why did my fiance cheat on me? Like, I was a victim in that situation. My identity was stolen. My car did this and that. My motorcycle, like, I didn't ask for any of that.
I actually want to talk about this because I don't know if I buy into a lot of that yet.
Well, where is it? Because at some point,
I think it's different. Hold on.
Okay.
Because when you, so consider this. So like in self-development in general, right? There's this mantra that I create my life. That everything about my life on some level I've created. And this is in an upgrade thing too, that our conscious and our subconscious minds are paired together. They're the captain and the crew, and everything about our life we've created, right?
Okay.
Well, okay. But it so easily pairs with toxic shame when you don't have the results that you want. That the idea that I created my life and this part of my life fucking sucks. Of course it sucks because I'm not worth it. That it's a detriment to the whole process. So it's like, I look at that and go, look, I had this bad experience happen to me when I was young, whatever it is. And okay, so instead of being encouraged to own it, that I created it for some reason, I'm removing the temptation to create a secondary gain, acting like that there's something that I got out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
And instead of having to do any of that stuff, I just put it down. Like, I don't need to know. I don't feel I created that. I get to deal with it, but I'm going to put it down. I don't want to actually give any more thought to that. I don't need to own that my parents were this or my mom was that, or I don't have to own it. All I have to do is put it down. And to me, it just feels like more ecological in the belief structure by thinking about it that way for a couple of reasons. And here's one. So, example, if I create 100% of my life and everything's on me and that's a reality, why in the world would I want to be a podcast consultant? I can't help people. If your creation is 100% on you, figure it out. So the idea that I could help you seems counterintuitive to that bigger narrative.
I don't think it dismisses somebody else contributing or chiming in, helping. I think the base underpinning.
Hold on. You're right, which is the point. The point is it doesn't, because we need other people, and all of our creations aren't necessarily 100% on us. That there's groupthink, there's group consciousness, there's things that come about that you might have had one sliver of a thought input into it, and then actually you're experiencing it. And like I said, I'm tired of the weight of having to justify that I created this shitty part for myself. I'm just going to put that down and go create other stuff that I like. Does that make sense?
It does. I think it's the difference between looking at it, honoring it, and then putting it down, or chewing on it and letting it go into you and perpetuate throughout you. My point with it is I am not responsible for a lot of the nonsense that has happened to me thus far.
I agree with you.
And I didn't ask for it. I didn't deserve it.
I agree with you.
But also it happened to me. And in some way I was involved in it, whether or not I asked for it or not.
Well, you always have a choice of how you respond.
Right. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's not that you are to blame. It's that the sooner you can identify this crappy thing happened and you identify, I may have lived or made some choices or whatever it may be. And so the sooner I can just own that, not because I can control this anymore, but just because there's some kind of lesson to learn. And the sooner I learn it, the sooner I get rid of that crap. And so the tendency, I think, is what you're inferring, is that we tend to beat ourselves up over it if we go down that path where it's like, oh, that happened, and so I have to take ownership of that, and you're so dumb, and da-da-da-da. Instead, like, I think the way that I've had to massively shift gears, because I used to think that and beat myself up and, crap that's not helpful for you. Instead, I go, well, this is still here in that it bounces around in my head. So there is something from it that maybe I haven't learned. I don't blame myself for that. I don't internalize it. I'm okay with it. And it also took a lot of internal work to even get to that point, to say that instead of like, oh, it's my fault. But I also am going to learn whatever lesson I need to so that it can go away.
Yeah.
And I think that the difference is in how we approach it. If are we blaming ourselves, or are we looking for a lesson so that it can be a lesson and then a blessing?
But are we supposed to be looking for a lesson? Because isn't that trying to make a secondary gain out of everything, and that's a part of the problem?
Well, that assumes that you're going to want to look and attract more problems and more difficulties. And I'm not doing that. These things happened and they once
I don't
defined
ask
me.
that knowing the answer. I
No,
ask
I
that
know.
generally
This
quick.
is, it's the discussion about it. And that's where like, what do I know? Like you have way more life experience than I do. You got a cool ass Ferrari. Like these are just my takes on the internal work that I've had to do. So taking 100% of every weird, crappy thing is not me blaming myself. It's me going, because it happened, I bet you there's some way I can benefit from that.
Okay.
And that's worked for me so far.
Sure.
And I haven't identified all the different things. I've done a ton of work, even just recently. A lot of my upbringing, we talked about like in the 90s, it was just a different time, man, especially in the church. Yeah. Like it was, you go to these Sunday school classes and a lot of the rhetoric there is like pretty toxic. Like they talk about, don't sleep with somebody before you get married. And it's kind of the equivalent to like getting chewed gum from somebody instead of a nice stick of gum. Like that was a legitimate analogy that I cannot tell you how many specifically.
The crazy
women,
part is you had to have seen a vagina to know that's a good example.
Well, valid. But the illustration was shared en masse. I cannot tell you how many women I knew heard that in their Sunday school, like when they're in the
That's
critical
so
formative teen years.
shame-based, dude.
But it's like in the 90s, it was also okay to be like racist or to be openly rude about people's sexual preferences, because at the time the conversation hadn't got big enough. People didn't get knocked on their heads, where it's like, now I have so many friends that are in the LGBT community. I support them. I love them. I don't agree with every single public facing angry narrative and this and that, but generally like I hold a ton of love and
They're
support.
people,
right?
they deserve love and support.
Like friggin' A, that's the underpinning of it, right? But also, you have to realize that times were different. So growing up in a very extreme pneumatic religious environment, it shapes the way that you look. And you can get into that mindset of you're going to find and blame and beat yourself up because you sinned, you're a bad person, da-da-da-da. So to break out of that mold, especially for us having like very comparable, I would say a lens to have only that to look at life through. Like we start with the one lens. Somebody gives it to us, our parents, whatever, and then that becomes the governing principle of life. Everything we know about life, I only have this lens to look at. And most people find ways throughout their life to compound the way that they look at life through that lens. Instead of being comfortable going, this helped me figure me out and get this far, there might be another way of looking at some stuff though. So like, my faith journey, at least specifically, because we're in Utah and that's, it's a very interesting cultural environment here, and I have so much love and respect for the person that being raised in an extreme way in a church has made me. I'm so grateful for it because I serve people and I find love and I find appreciation for it. I also have harbored a lot of shame. And you talked about that earlier, where you've had to reconcile letting go of the shackles of shame, which is such a weird thing to do.
It's not like I find I don't like the example of shackles because it's like once it's gone, it's gone. Like it's a tricky little bitch that finds its way back there when you're not expecting it to. You think you've handled it, and all of a sudden a different thought will pop up, or you'll do something that you didn't think you would do, and then it unearths all of this extra stuff that you thought was put to bed.
Yeah, I guess in the way that it's not, and you can resolve some of that. And, one of the things I had to do was when I first went through Upgrade, I had this bizarre belief. And I feel like my aunt said some weird shit to me when I was like 7 or 8, something about, you shouldn't make more money than your dad, and why? I'm 7. I'm so impressionable right now. Like it was just this weird passing moment at like a family dinner. I couldn't give you the context, but I forgot that happened. And so there I am, knocking doors at like 22 years old, selling pest control. And I'm sitting on my bed and I've got it projected on my little iPad, and they built this app and they go, you made this many sales. Here's your projected amount. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like halfway through the season here. If I keep this going, I'm going to hit this insane threshold. And then I started sabotaging myself. I'm looking at this sum and I couldn't tell you why. I didn't want to get out of the car anymore. I didn't want to knock doors. I didn't want to talk to people anymore because I'd already made some good money. And at 22 years old, I was hyped on making like 30, 40 grand. And then I could not possibly understand why I suddenly couldn't do it anymore. And then later to go through Upgrade and realize that I had some limiting belief about not making more money than my father.
Yeah.
And then to get rid of that. And that's the thing is like most people don't have either like the resources or the means, or they don't understand that they can be free of these shackles. They don't even see that they're there, And of course they can come back on, you can reach back down but they're not gone yet. But most people need more access. So these conversations are important because I think where else are you going to look? It's like you're not going to get it from a movie. You're not going to get it from television or Netflix. You have to find people that have done like an uncomfortable amount of work, put up a lot of capital, right? To go to a training. Tony Robbins is like one of the ones that are really well known, where it's rooted in like change this, rah rah. But what's different, I think, for us, like when we went through Upgrade, is it was way faster and less like prolonged and all this rah rah stuff. There's like a legitimate takeaway. So all that to say, every single person has the ability to let go of the pain and the weird programs and self-limiting beliefs that have pretty much governed like everyone's lives at some point or another. And maybe they're still there. You can get rid of it though, and you can be free of it. And that's been the weirdest realization.
Yeah.
But it's super comforting.
It is good. I guess at the end of the day, it's a lot of semantics of how the raw truth, the undebatable truth, in my opinion, is that we all have a say in the future of our lives. When you chunk it all the way down, you have a say.
It's frustrating.
You are not a victim to any sort of thing that you would not want to do. Does that make sense? Did I say it right? You can do whatever you want. Wherever you came from, and reconciling how that applies to the creative onus that we have to further our lives to a better place, that's just, I think, fodder. It's a conversation sometimes we don't even need to sweat. That's why I just chose to put it down. I'm like, I don't need it anymore.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I've seen it a lot. Not to beat the dead horse too much, but one of the things I've seen a lot lately is that people are, there's something really comforting about blaming some shit that seems outside of your control. So the pandemic, right? Oh, I was going to do this thing, but then the pandemic hit. So now I just had to sit on my couch for 2 years.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
But then if you can blame that, that feels like a pretty valid reason. Like, look at a big old thing. Everybody's sick. We're wearing masks. Everyone's freaking out. Battles of the vaccines. Like, you don't know what's going on. But it's also very nice to just like blame that, because then you don't have to do anything. And it's
on a
outside
very
of your control.
easy way. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like the people that, fake sick so they can just have a day off from work.
Yeah. Like, why are you doing that? You're not addressing the root cause.
You're lying
You
to
don't like the work.
yourself. You're lying to like your boss. Just own it. Yo, dude, I'm just not feeling it today, man. I need to take a me day. Okay. But then that gets abused, and you have, like we hear these stories of like the Twitter employees, like they don't ever work, and like they have trigger days. Like, I was triggered. I need a day off. Like,
Man.
Anyway, dude, we do current events around here, and we talk about them. So, Mr. B, what you got for our current events?
Cash money, the big peso.
Indeed. Speaking, okay, we'll just start with, if we're talking about money. So, a VHS copy of Back to the Future just got auctioned off for $75,000 in Dallas.
Really?
Yep.
Did it
Why?
come with an NFT?
I don't know if the people in Dallas who are auctioning off for a VHS know what an NFT is.
Valid.
So
That would be a great utility for an NFT, though. You
Right?
get like an old school VHS.
It's kind of fire. Just got this digital asset.
So, do we know anything else about like why and how and who the nerd was that bought it,
It's the first one ever minted.
and how virgin he was?
no, but so it is
Sorry,
the trilogy. So it's all three movies.
Okay.
So it's the three VHS.
Oh, that makes total
pack.
sense now. Of course, they'd spend
Yeah.
$75,000 on that.
Original packaging, probably.
Original packaging, and it got a PSA grade of 80 plus. So or a VGA grade. So the same people who do cards apparently rated the box and different things and packaged it up. So it's not even like you can watch it. It's just ta-da, here's a little.
Dude, I think that was one of the very first movie I ever saw as a kid in the theater was Star Wars. And I think that might have been like in the top 5 movies I've ever like seen. Like list was Back to the Future 1.
Really?
Yeah. I remember it. I remember being in the theater seeing it as a kid because I was
golden time.
I was 10 basically.
You know, the camera on your iPhone is a better camera than what they filmed Star Wars with.
Probably.
No, literally.
Yeah.
In terms of technology, sensor tech, the way that film looks, it's beautiful. It captures color, looks awesome. But in terms of tech sophistication, right there, you could film Star Wars. Now that was why practical sets were so important, and lighting and all this other stuff. And like, so you got to have the budget and the know-how for that, the Hollywood magic, but the camera, the way they captured it, that smokes it now. Kind of crazy to think about.
Okay. Well, what does that have to do with Back to the Future though?
Probably the same thing, same camera. I don't know.
Do you think that the Back to the Future cameras are as bad as are better? The iPhone camera's better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just that era of cameras. Anything that they were filming on.
Dude, what I want out of those movies is that fucking book, the almanac.
So I've seen that
Sports
movie
almanac.
maybe once.
I've only seen it like
He's
once.
not sweaty on Back to the Future.
He's
What?
only seen it once.
Forgot I'm surrounded by children. This is awesome.
Some of us were born in the 90s.
Yeah, 91.
Yeah.
Don't give me that look.
These guys can fuck off. Anybody that's seen that movie knows you want that damn sports almanac, man.
Oh, no, I do think about that. I think about betting all the time. Be like, man, if I had known the Patriots were going to come back from 28-3, I would have put everything on it.
Well, who wouldn't?
You? I don't know.
No, I would have. Like, I would have been betting everything, dude. The sports almanac. I would want to know more of like, because right now we're in a really crazy time in our culture and in our history, where there's a lot of like gaslighting going on by our media and by
that just sounds like something
pharma.
that you're doing.
Projecting.
Dude, that was so good, dude. That was so good. God help your girlfriend. All right. You're going to pull that one out at the right time. I don't know if this is really something.
I just don't know why you're acting like that.
Yeah, I didn't do anything like this. This is, anyway, and the pendulum always sways back, dude. There's going to be investigations into a lot of the stuff with the little jab, jab, jab. And so there's going to be election integrity stuff that's going to come out. There's all this. And I'm like, man, I would love to like have that almanac now. Like, look, and I knew it on page,
I was going to call that.
page 87, bro.
I would say if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what people say at like a certain level of like football or elections. To think that every single election cycle there hasn't existed some degree of fraud is bananas. That is obviously happening.
Well, here's the thing is, talk about gaslighting. We know there is. Yeah. We absolutely know this. You hear
On both sides
stories
of the
that
aisle.
are openly saying, like, I voted twice. I went once in this county. That's complete election fraud.
Yep.
And then the other outside narrative of that is like, well, it doesn't matter enough. There's not enough to actually sway an election. It's like, well, are you sure?
Because you count?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Anyway.
Here's the funny thing with that, and this is where it might be a little, I might get some angry DMs. In my growth through Upgrade and understanding that your neurology has tiers, right? Value levels. We talk about that at length, right? So if like a value level 2 is like a caveman, value level 1's like a baby. Baby's not doing anything for anybody. It just takes. Value level 2, it's like, hey, I'm a caveman. Saber-toothed tigers.
Thank you for
out
saying out loud how I feel about babies.
Well, there is nothing. They poop. They
just
yell.
take.
They're cute
These
sometimes.
fucking
They look like
leeches,
potatoes
man.
for a while.
There's
though.
not a cute baby out there. I'm sorry. We need to bust this narrative wide open.
Yeah.
It's Gollum is what it is. Like every baby looks like it. If the baby's pretty, God help that adult. Like look at what Macaulay Culkin turned into. Cute as fuck kid. Yeah. Now he looks like,
that's math.
like he's cosplaying something from Harry Potter, dude. Like it's
well, that aside, babies do just be taken. That's just how they are.
Anyway,
I
interrupted.
That's a level 1 though, right?
Level
And we
one,
know
right?
that level 2 being a caveman. There's saber-tooth tigers out here. I got to get to a cave. And if it's just me, this is rough. I need a tribe. And so now you've got all the cavemen packed into the caves, and life is a windstorm, and we're just leaves in it. But like, at least we've got our tribe. We've got each other at the end of the day.
Poet caveman?
Yeah, literally. It's like that Fast and Furious. At the end of the day, all we got is family.
Oh, I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Quarter mile at a time. I'll race you, by the way.
Yeah.
Or are you against the Tesla?
Okay.
Quarter mile straight.
Yeah.
Pink slips.
I like humbling Tesla owners.
You can't, bro. We've already talked about
Dude,
this.
the fucking Tesla 3 people, like they think that they can rally me, and they just don't.
Yeah, you'll smoke the hell out of those.
Yeah.
That's satisfying.
It's so sad for them too, because then they have to go home to their townhome where they park their Tesla 3.
I'm like the community charger. Oh man, the leaf is on it.
Man, there's not a spot left. I gotta wait out.
Yeah.
Okay, what
so
else
value
you got?
level 2. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
This is important.
Okay.
Value level 2, right? It's the you find comfort in community, but also like you can't do anything about it. Well, the value level 3 says, I see a lot of cavemen in caves. I bet they all need clubs. I don't care about any of them, but I'll sell them clubs. Now I'm the lead club salesman, and so I'll do whatever it takes to stay ahead. I hear that other guy's making clubs. I'll beat him to death. I'm the club salesman in these parts, And then the value. So, and people theorize, this is where people are going to get mad. Donald Trump might be like the most value level 3 ever.
Are you familiar with spiral dynamics?
No.
He's a solid red, which is basically what value level 3 is.
Really?
Yeah. It's very, very earthly, very success driven because of money and the spoils. There's not a lot of meaning to it. It's just because there's an opportunity. Yep. It's very self-serving. Yeah, that's a solid red.
Well, value level 4 is the person that saw all the cavemen and all the salesmen at the clubs and said, I bet you I could tax them. I bet you I could create a system where I say, if you're going to do that, you have to guarantee the clubs. You create the rules, a governance system that rallies everybody under an umbrella, but that umbrella is defined by like one person. The reason I say all of this to bring us to a point is a system is something that someone else has implemented over you. It is an agreed threshold of all of us being like, yeah, sure, fine. So that's laws in government. Right. It could be a corporation and like company culture. It can also be religion. And that's been an interesting experience for me. It's also like nationalism. So this is where it gets get mad. Like I was raised in the military. My dad was Army MP, did a ton of
I don't understand why it's a bad thing to think America's awesome.
It's not a bad thing at all. But it's also the idea of inherent superiority on the basis of us being Americans, which is awesome. I love being American. This is what I'm saying. I was born in Germany.
Okay, so why is America the only place where people have a fucking problem with that? Because like you watch like Germans rally for like their soccer teams and it's like, oh, look at the Germans, they love their country, Germany. Same thing, like, and everybody accepts it, but all of a sudden if an American does that, it's like we're a bunch of white supremacists and 100% nationalism.
And I think that's when it's taken too far. Like for sure, it's the vilification of it. You should have national pride. And that was actually something I couldn't let go for the longest time. It's the reason that William called me and brought me on as a partner, not because I was ready to reject my American patriotic roots. I love them, I cherish them, I hold them deeply. I voted for Trump. But also, like, if I'm so married to it, I might have applied blinders to my life that I didn't even realize. So one of the things I was talking with Will, I was like, hey, in order to transcend out of value level 4, do I need to let go of my nationalism in the sense that I believe I'm superior on just this one basis point? And he called me up right then and there. I texted him that phone call. And he's like, where did you get that idea? And for those at home, like William is from Hong Kong. And so he both has a deep love for where he's from, and he also loves here in the States. So he's not like, he has perspective. And maybe that's what it comes down to. It's like, if you've never traveled, you've never left the world or the country you're in, you're not going to understand how the rest of the world operates, where it's like, you should have German nationalistic pride. That's awesome. Now, post 40s. and you should love being Austrian.
You should want to be surrounded by only blonde hair, blue eyed people all the time.
Oh boy, and that's not what we're saying. You should love that you have these roots in India, and you should love and honor that. You know, that's cool. But if you also have the perspective of living in multiple places, then you go, you know, a lot of that's just like a framework. And that's okay. It doesn't rob you of anything. It doesn't take food out of the people's mouth. You can also kind of get blinded to it. So people get in these camps. I literally saw on Facebook, it made me cringe so hard. People would post like a photo of Trump on the beach, walking side by side with Jesus.
That's what's up.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's what's up.
I trust his motives to the extent that he will bring money and capitalistic intentions.
I didn't know he wanted he's on a romantic walk on the beach with Jesus. I didn't know he wanted to bang Jesus.
I don't know
That's
if that
the
was
only
what
way
he was
Trump would
inferring.
be walking on
He's
the
like,
beach
we're
with
side
Jesus.
by side. He's so guided. No, he's not. He's a dude.
I want to see under your robe, Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Bryce.
No, that's
my point is.
No, the point is I get it. Yeah, there's such people that they're so bought in.
They're
extreme. Blinded to it.
Oh.
And I get how it happened.
And I voted for him. But like Truth Social, he retruthed. Did you hear about that? I only heard about it through Joe Rogan's pod.
No.
Where he's like, some guy just posted something on Truth Social, his new like Twitter equivalent. And when you retweet something, you retruth it.
Right.
Which has a ton of built-in inference, which is kind of weird if you think about it. Some guy, Truth posts Civil War. That's it. And Donald Trump retruthed it. And the actual integrated, there's a lot of weird meaning you could pull out of that.
Right.
And they also, apparently, they're planning on banning anybody that talks about January 6th, banning him off of Truth Social, which is bananas to think about. Because, like, that's the whole.
Why is it any less bananas than what they're doing on Twitter?
Well, the irony is that they were they were complaining about it. Twitter's a hot mess, but that's no secret. And so for this to be, I would say, the platform of truth and no censorship and da-da-da-da, look, it's easier to just admit that you have an inherent bias. So, like, to label that as truth is weird.
Nobody knows, or nobody is acting like they don't have a bias.
Well, but the narrative around it is meant to be like, here's where truth is.
I got
you know, and where Twitter goes, this is the marketplace of ideas. And so it should
I think it's more nefarious how Twitter does it than what Truth Social does.
Absolutely.
Because at least with Truth Social, you're like, come on, retruth, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Where with Twitter, it's all subtle.
Yeah, but you got boomers that buy into that. They're like, that was retruthed, and I printed a photo of Donald Trump and Jesus. It's over our mantle.
One of my favorite comedians is a guy named Shane Gillis, and he has this joke about his dad being a Fox News dad. And then he's like, but it's way better than a Fox News mom because she smokes in the house, you know? And just the idea of like this fucking old blonde chick that's...
Oh, shut up, Hannity's on. Hannity's on.
Oh my gosh! being able to let go of where your bias was is a huge part in growing. Even though I voted for Trump, I also don't think he's the greatest guy on the planet. Way better than Biden, terrible guy. But also, like, at some point, you have to let go of your bias because in your confirmation bias is that lens. I had the grossest lens of my own confirmation bias operating, in front of my face for the longest time. And I think I've got a really good hold on where those are now. And I've gotten good at peeling them away. Time's going to go on, and I'm going to find out at 30. I didn't have it all figured out, but I'm at least looking for it now. So I don't know, like, to be able to transcend extreme nationalism, which is not a bad thing. It's the extreme side of it where you are going to confirmation bias the hell out of anything that ever comes across your threshold, or being okay not like living and dying by a corporation's culture. I worked in a pest control company for 4 years, and we basically had like testimony meetings where we would sit down, talk about why this is the one pure, superior pest control company. It was so weird in hindsight, and I was so bought in. I drank the Kool-Aid. I worshipped the executive board. I thought they were so cool. This is my future. And then they're like, if you leave, it's a stormy world out there. You're not going to survive. This is the only place you're going to thrive. I leave and I build my own business and I crushed it. But I was terrified for years of leaving. And so I transcended this corporate culture. Now, I think the reason I really wanted to say all this is because spirituality has been such an important part of my life lately. And you and I were talking a bit, and it's like, it's really hard to reconcile when you were raised in an extreme way. And you did a good job. You served a mission. You helped people. You really tried to internalize the principles. You didn't half-ass it.
Right.
I have learned, and I shared this with somebody 2 days ago, that the tendency is when you feel like you've left an avenue of your faith, you want to kind of burn it all wholesale. Maybe you're mad. Maybe you feel like you got lied to. Maybe you wasted a bunch of time. But you know what? Those are your roots. That they may be ugly. They may be covered in mud. You may not like the way they look now, but your roots are where you started as a seed. And your roots, to cut those out, does not serve the tree. Your tree could also grow just as tall proportionally as deep as those roots are. But that's not really a very good tree. And if you get rid of your roots, you don't honor it and respect it, you're screwing yourself over even more. So honor the roots. Be okay with it. But let that tree grow. Right. You can become a sequoia. Your branches, your leaves, things that are nothing to do with your roots. They strengthen you. You can leverage them. But I see it a lot where people, specifically in Utah, when they leave a religious framework, they want to burn everything wholesale and be mad. And it's like, you know what? That's a core component of who you were. Just honor it and keep moving.
Just evolve. You don't have to.
Evolve. Let that tree grow. Don't freaking throw it. Anyways,
it's like I haven't been to church in over a decade, but and I don't have any sort of guile against people that are in that, and there's a lot of that belief that I still appreciate and found to be valuable for parts of my life, and others I'm like, I'm over it. And that feels good to me. So not that I'm better than anybody else, of course, but like I've always questioned that too, like the point of like, why do you got to just go scorched earth on this thing? Like if it is what you say it is, it will do it itself. Figure it out.
I think that is a defining characteristic of who you are now, because look what you got.
Yeah.
Being able to have that really, I would say, very advanced, very introspective, hard to swallow paradigm has allowed you to be like who you freaking are now, right? And so that will only continue. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Do you think, just question, with the people like you're just talking about in Utah who leave the church and have more of that, like they want to go scorched earth on it, isn't that just transferring the same amount of commitment they had to believing in it to not believing in it? So they're not really changing their mindset.
It's totally a binary
they're
shift.
Just taking.
They're still putting urgency and energy towards it, and it's just in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that tree doesn't grow. It stays the same length as the roots.
Yep.
So to 10x your root length, it becomes something beautiful. You know? Stop it. I know exactly what you're doing.
I'd like to 10x my root length.
Oh gosh.
All right, what you got, buddy?
So there's a company in North Carolina that is looking for 5 to 6 homeowners for money, of course, to test a experimental pest control method, and they want to release 100 American cockroaches into their house for 30 days for a whopping $2,000.
So you get paid $2,000
to live with 100 cockroaches.
For how long?
For 30 days.
30 days?
With an experimental extermination product that this company is testing. And if it doesn't work, good news is they'll go back to traditional methods to get rid of the 100 cockroaches you've been living with, for 30 days, which have probably reproduced at that point.
Are the cockroaches the solution, or are cockroaches the testing? Like
they're the testing.
Okay.
Okay, so hold on. I can see through this already. Dude, this isn't about cockroaches or pest control. This is a psyop type of thing where they're trying to see like what the actual people would who would be willing to do this. Like who devalues their experience so much that $2,000 extra would let you be willing to live in a fucking shithole for a month. Dude, that's what it is.
Here's the thing. You have to go through an interview process and an application process to get it.
There it is, dude. They're trying to find the freaking nut jobs. Like, you know what? I could do it.
You know, they
bring it on, man. $2,000. You know how much Keystone Light I can buy with $2,000?
Fridge gonna be stocked, bubba.
Oh, I can get that Confederate flag funnel that I've been looking for my gas tank.
Oh, it's continental United States wide, so anybody can apply nationwide.
Oh, you can do it in your new house. $2,000.
Oh, that's the thing is I would put on the experiment. I wouldn't be the one doing it.
You're just doing it to see if you can get other people to do it.
Dude, I legit think it's a psyop. There's something bigger about that. That's a psychological operation, in case you guys didn't.
Anyone knows this, but the government leverages on you every time you turn on the TV.
Right. That's what every Disney movie is.
They've technically got a way of actually getting rid of all mosquitoes, and you make the next generation infertile so that they can't perpetuate. So perhaps they're like going, okay, like cockroaches, maybe that's what they do, right? So you're trying to, the reason they actually won't wipe out mosquitoes, I just learned this the other day, is they don't know the actual environmental impact long term. We don't know what mosquitoes really do other than bite and kill everybody.
Piss you off.
Yeah, and like, dude, you go to like, you get a house over here by Utah Lake, that's mosquito central. I don't know if you've ever like have friends over there. It's like, dude, that looks pretty until your children
like all those.
Dude, constantly. So they have a means of actually legitimately getting rid of all mosquitoes, but they're not doing it because they don't know the impact. So it's kind of funny, maybe this cockroach thing, because if a nuclear bomb goes off, they're actually the only things that are alleged to be able to survive. Freaking nasty little, bro. Yeah. I did pest control for too long. Those things are pernicious.
They got to hang out with Wally.
What?
They got to hang out with Wally, man.
Hang out with Wally. I love that movie.
All right, what you got?
So authorities in Tennessee said they were trying to find the owner of a 300-pound mysterious pig that's wandering around and causing property damage. The Carter County Sheriff's Office said in a Facebook post that they're hoping that the owner will turn up because they do not have the resources or the capacity to house or capture a 300-pound pig. So they are just letting it run around rapid in the hopes that the owner will be like, that's my pig.
That's my pig.
That's my pig.
Yeah. You know, that's we got a hot swap here. In Texas, boars are an enormous issue. Okay. They do something like, gosh, I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's in the tens of millions of damage annually to farmland, to regular land. So they have these giant ass boars. That's where I grew up. So Texas, you see it. We got all these camps and you just see this hillside. It's just upturned because they're looking for grubs and stuff. Well, they're also like 600 pounds and they're freaking angry as hell.
Wow.
And so you can legally go and shoot as many boars as you want in Texas.
Dude, that was the question I had. I was like, why don't they just fucking kill this pig?
Can't find it, bro.
Have a big party with all the bacon and everything. Right?
It's got feelings.
It does have feelings.
It does. Pigs are crazy smart.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped eating bacon lately. If you thought my polarizing comments were bad then, I'm listening to my body. I used to love bacon, and then I eat it, and I'm like, I don't like how I feel eating this, and so I'm just not.
Okay, I'm not gonna hate on you for that. Like, come on, bro. I mean, bacon's amazing, but I get that, dude. Like, I've gotten to the point of I don't even eat 3 full meals anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I have a really big breakfast, you know, high in protein, all that stuff, I'll just have like a shake for my lunch, and then I'll have a full dinner and stuff because I'm trying to keep it that 2,200 calories a day with
you doing
150 to 200 grams of protein.
Do you find that it's like difficult to actually count calories? Because I'm coming from a place
count for shit.
Okay, because I don't even know how to cook. Like I'm 30.
Do you use the Superhuman app?
No.
Okay, so I try to. My poor coach, like I don't count for shit with my calories. Like I try. I get
people get obsessive, man.
Oh, they do, dude. My son, he'll be 21 in 2 weeks. He counts everything, bro. And there's no rhyme behind it. I swear this kid's got Asperger's or some shit. He's on the spectrum because he just does the weirdest stuff for no reason.
Smartest ones are, man.
That's not him though. So, I mean, he's not dumb. He's just daft. Anyway, love you, buddy.
You're starting to see the results in it, though. I mean, by having a little more being a little more conscientious of your diet, your input, your macros, your calories, crap that I didn't care for at all. And then now I'm 30 and I'm starting to go, you know what? maybe I should take a little bit more inventory on my body.
Oh,
What's
dude,
going
your metabolism
in. I was
legit slows down.
invincible
Your
for-
testosterone goes away. Like, so you have to start taking a different supplementation route too to keep your body.
You have to prioritize it.
I'm healthier than I've ever been at my age now, 46, and just plan on getting better. And it's because I put a needle in my cheek. I go to the doctor, get the thyroid stuff handled. Like
Nice.
it's all. I mean, you don't look this good
That little war.
unless it's by design. You know what I'm saying? No,
You're
but
just a genetic anomaly.
no, but back to the pig thing. Like they can't fucking figure out how to pick this pig up.
No,
He's not that big.
300 pounds. That's a big pig, but like
Get a
just,
forklift. What are you talking about?
Huh.
Be a certified forklift operator. Get all the ladies.
I just want to. I keep thinking about like they see the pig somewhere. Some civilian is like, "What the fuck is that?"
Are
Do you
civilians
see that thing?
non-pig owners?
Do you? What is that a horse? What? They have to identify because a pig that big, I bet, doesn't look like a pig. I mean, it looks like a pig, but you're like, it's too big to be a pig.
What do you think the average weight of a pig is? Because
I don't know,
think it'd
80
be that much
pounds
bigger.
maybe? Like-
really?
I don't know. I don't know anything about pigs. I'm just
either.
guessing from like what I've seen in like farms and stuff I've been to. I
Sure.
mean, they're about the size of a dog.
The
Yeah. They gotta be
average weight of a pig is between 300 and 700 pounds.
So this is a normal size
Really?
pig.
Yeah, this is like a.
So there's just a pig.
This
on
isn't
the
even
loose.
a current event. Then.
This
This
is Babe
is
Pig
like,
in
hey,
the
this
City.
is
I've seen that
Tuesday
movie.
in North Carolina. Hey, the pig's out.
A pig in the city. Babe in the woods. Dang, dude. North Carolina is a wild
I'm
place.
glad you didn't say pig sex in the city because that just would have been too funny.
That's not my arsenal of jokes. I'll let you take that one. I don't want to hear these things. I'm haunted. So when I was at Mr. Beast, the whole operation's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was fascinating because despite it being very north, like high in the raiment of the states, they are southern as hell. I came back from that with like a little drawl, and it was so interesting
There's
to
a
go
lot
to
of backwoods in North Carolina.
so much, dude, and it's all spread out. Like we lived in this tiny ass town where it's like there's a hospital, there's the number 3 party school in the nation, and then there's Mr. Beast, and that
Which
was
was it NC State or
ECU.
ECU?
ECU. Yeah,
In the Appalachian Mountains.
dude, it was just the craziest place.
Bow, bow, bow.
And people have known each other for generations. There's like families that have like beef with other families from somebody did this thing to my tractor back in the 70s. Now our families don't talk.
Like
and
the
it's like
Hatfields and McCoys type shit.
literally, and they won't do business with each other. If anything overlaps, it turns into this whole weird thing.
Oh, you're one of them Capulets?
It's a real thing.
I know, dude. The idea of family feuds, I mean, it's Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. The whole book's about that, basically.
Yeah, Southern edition. I mean,
Hatfield McCoy, there's like a
Maybe
TV show
Poison.
about that. I find that to be so interesting because it's like, you want to talk about a framework? You want to talk about a religion? Hating that dude is a religion.
dude, literally.
Yeah.
It is exactly that. You ascribe to it and you get your emotions wrapped up into it. You feel galvanized by putting them down as the villain. We're the better ones coming out of the yeehaw. It's like, that's silly.
It's almost like it's happening in our country right now about people that didn't get vaccinated. It's like there's a general hatred for them.
Yeah. That
Like
needs
those
to.
dumb idiots. They didn't want to take that special big farmer juice and help out their neighbor, even though the juice has never been tested and it doesn't have any proof it's working and it actually doesn't work. But hey, they won't do it, so
meanwhile-
they don't hate their grandma.
Well, we got to hide all the data for 55 years because it was so effective. We don't want to surprise nobody with the
Yeah,
promising.
YouTube's going to cut us off now. They're like, sorry, bro.
I mean, all of that's like wild, giant mass experimentation. I
got
had
any
everything
others?
else.
Welshman drank at 56 pubs in 24 hours for the Guinness World Record.
That's what's up, dude.
Hell yeah.
However,
How much did you drink?
Sips.
they had a little asterisk. He didn't have to drink alcohol at the pubs to count.
Fuck out of here,
Yeah, I was
dude.
excited.
How's that a
and
record?
Then,
So he went to he went to 56 stores in an hour in a day.
yeah, pretty much.
Don't give that guy
That's
anything.
sensational.
They don't say how much how much alcohol he drank. The quote is, "I knew I had to stay off the Guinness." Because
Next time I go to the mall, I'm gonna say I visited 200 stores in 4 hours.
That
you just got to look at
You
it.
I don't have
hold
to
the
buy
record.
anything at those stores. I just could walk through them all.
one of the last things we should talk about is the UFO conversation.
I don't know enough about it.
Oh, well, it's a blast.
I've blocked it out.
Okay, I got to tell you something.
Okay.
No one's gonna believe us, but I don't care because I had 3 friends there with us.
Oh, you got probed?
Well, yes, but it's fine. I sit better now. I don't.
She asked first, at least.
So picture the scene. We're deep in meditation. Me and my friends were in our front porch out on holiday. Where we're just like late at night. We've been having this unbelievable conversation. We go, you know what? Like, let's try and make contact and open ourselves up. We were on the back patio for an hour. And we have all of these trees, and they're blocking out all the light pollution. We have this beautiful conduit right to the night sky. And you start seeing, if you do that long enough, you're going to feel like an idiot until something happens. And so, like, some things that are as far away as stars. If a star is there fixed in the heavens, and you see that, and then suddenly it does something that stars don't do, and it does this, and then that and the other. I have no decent way of explaining it. I saw helicopters that night. I saw planes that night. They had the red lights, FAA regulations. It was not any of those. So we see these things come in from like, it's just one, goes here, hits this point, and then it looks like it's coming on to like what has to be an on-ramp or something. It kind of changes, and then it goes straight on for a bit, and then disappears at this one spot. Maybe it went behind something. Maybe it went up. No idea. We're just like, that's a trip. Don't have a great explanation for that. And then 15 more over the next 10 minutes start appearing from different directions, and they all hit the exact same point in the sky, like an on-ramp onto a highway, single file. And then they go into this direction and then either go behind something, which is the same spot they all disappear, or maybe it gained a ton of altitude and took off. Don't know what it is. Don't know how to explain it. It was bananas though. And I think my friends were convinced that it was life forms from something else. And I've kind of come to terms with most of that is probably just experimental aircraft that like we don't know anything about. But I also welcome the idea that there could be, potentially another.
That's a trip, dude.
It was awesome. It was so cool. I'm
thinking of Interstellar with that.
Why?
Just the movie, because it's like, it sounds like you got what do they call it? Like the portal thing.
Oh yeah, wormhole.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not outrageous to assume that like there's been no technological leaps.
Dude, the Congress had a thing about, the aliens are real.
That's why I absolutely, biodiversity in the ocean is completely unexplored. It's 70% of the planet. We have no idea what the hell's in it. Yeah. We find new species all the time. So to assume that like all life in all the universe is just found in our little marble is pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But I also think that Congress and the government shining a light onto this, I find more sus.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
It's a red herring. So whatever that looks like, I think it's, we're just trying to make them think it's aliens when it's just us with some dope-ass spacecrafts. The TR-3B is one of this is really going to get us flagged now. There's a Google patent, and it's a triangular anti-grav spaceship. You can look on Google Patents right now, TR-3B, real patent. And it's kind of like, my guess is it's like the F-150 workhorse of like, whatever echelon of things they're working on at that level. Because the triangle craft, everybody sees it all the time. And then the patents are everywhere. Anyway, so that's kind of fun to think about. Chew on that.
So aliens, Nellis Air Force Base down in Las Vegas area. I had a friend, his uncle. We were sitting there. He worked for the Air Force for numerous years. I was asking him, is there aliens? And he said, I can't tell you anything. However, I can allegedly tell you that where our water is, that little lake out there in Nellis Air Force Base, there is a runway underneath. And I was like, that's all you're going to leave me with? And he's like, yeah. I was like, dope.
Dude, aliens are real, man. This isn't even, I don't even get turned on by this conversation anymore. It's like,
I'm trying to arouse you, bro.
No, they're real. Let's meet them. I love Joe Rogan's example of like what aliens actually do. Aliens look at us like we're an anthill. And they're like, look at these idiots, man.
Yeah, they spit this
I'm
thing
not
out the
going to waste
back.
my time with you. They can't even get along. I'm out.
Did you
so,
know that there are tribes in I think it's in Peru or in the Amazon, you were legally not allowed to interfere with them because they are so regressed in terms of Homo sapien development, evolution. They hunt with spears, lion cloths. They have their own language, and no one's allowed to interact with them.
There's a bunch of those in Brazil.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So, I mean, it's not outrageous to see if we're the equivalent to them. We're a breakaway society from them. They're like, what do you mean you got iPhones? What is a TikTok?
What is it? I still have that question.
What are them Tic Tacs? It's not outrageous to assume that at some point over the course of history, with a country like China, it's been around for 1,000, 2,000 years, and there could be breakaway societies, the 1% of the 1%. And of course, they got cool cars. They don't give a crap about your Lambo. Theirs fly.
Yeah.
I got to meet those guys.
We will. I think
call us. If you're out there, you're listening.
I think that's a good part to adjourn on.
Is that a good part?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you, man. This is fun. Let's do it again.
So, we'll have you come back a bunch more, man. It's fun to talk. Maybe we'll do some like segments. We'll have
I would be
specific
so
times.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going more detail on some of the stuff we did before too.
Yeah.
On the last pod. Now we can really get into the weeds on it.
So if people want to find you, where do they go?
Most of it's through Instagram.
Brady Edwards.
Brady Deluxe.
Brady Deluxe. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no. I was thinking that was going to be my artist name for the longest time, but I'm changing it now before my music releases. So yeah, like it just kind of outgrew. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Right after this, I'm headed to a studio session with my producer. 13th session, dude.
What do you like? We're gonna drop it there. You have to come back and tell us about your music.
All right, deal. Yeah, we can play it. It'll be fun.
Okay.
It's cool. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've listened to the Kid Leroy, probably not. Juice WRLD, MGK.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blend between all of those,
I know those.
with kind of my own take on it. I've been singing for 20 something years, and I was like, I finally just need to send it, so I did.
I want to hear it. I mean, before we. Let me hear it.
Yeah, well, playing the Tesla.
Brady Edwards, my man. Appreciate you guys.
This has been awesome.
Thanks, friends.
Later.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would ask that you like, subscribe, share it. You want more videos? Check out over here. We got them for you. See you on the next one.